if we would ever adopt again. As you guys know, we adopted our beautiful son Abriel. He is 6 years old now, and it is the best thing that has ever happened to us. Steven and I went through years of infertility, but prior to knowing that we were infertile, we had always wanted to adopt. So after 3 years of infertility, we decided to go through the adoption process. He is the best gift in the entire world. I feel like there's a lot of stuff around adoption that's not talked about enough. Adoption is not easy, and adoption comes from a lot of trauma. Back when we announced that we were going to go the adoption route for a baby, we did not have this platform, but we still received quite a bit of backlash. It was a really hard thing to see the comments saying we were child stealers and human traffickers and all the names that we got called. And unless you've walked through an adoption, I guess you don't really understand, just like we didn't understand what goes into it and the trauma behind adoption. Needless to say, everything is really difficult to put into the right words. I was just going to take a moment to read just a couple things that I had written in our book to kind of explain what I mean when I say trauma or the difficulties of going through an adoption. This is not going to be in order, by the way. As with anything, nothing is perfect, and it's irresponsible to talk about adoption without calling out the corruption in the adoption industry and how predators can take advantage of frightened birth parents and vulnerable children. Adoption at its core comes from deep trauma on the part of the birth parent, adoptive parents, and the adoptee. Even when you're fundamentally prepared to deal with the pain and trauma like Steven and I thought we were, nothing can prepare you for experiencing that trauma in person like we did the day Abriel was born. And while it's easy to focus on your own grief, we can't imagine the turmoil that Michaela went through deciding on adoption. Having sweet Abriel grow inside of her, going through the pain of childbirth, and then handing him over to us, her trauma and the sacrifice she and other birth parents experience has to be recognized. As someone who is an adoptive parent, I don't believe for our family that closed adoption is something that I could handle. We have been incredibly blessed with Abriel's birth family and the open adoption that we have, and nothing can guarantee that if we were to ever adopt another child, that we would have that bond or that we would have that connection. But even open adoption is not always sunshine and rainbows. We're all navigating through this in real time for the first time ever. And so it's just not always easy. I also wanted to read just a small portion from when we went to the hospital when Abriel was born. Suddenly, the reality of what was happening hit me. This day was so happy for Steven and me as we welcomed this little life into the world and our family. While I always knew it would be a hard day for Michaela, I couldn't wrap my mind around the sheer magnitude of her grief until I saw her sobbing in her hospital bed. As she held Abriel's tiny body, she wept in a way I'd never seen anyone cry before. I think when you are going into an adoption and you are anticipating the birth of a beautiful baby, you don't always realize the sheer magnitude and the pain that someone else is going through. It is supposed to be one of the happiest days of your life getting to hold your baby, and as much as it is that, it is also one of the worst days of your life, watching someone else go through probably the worst day of their life. Never say never, but at this point we are not pursuing adoption. I guess we're just kind of taking it slow.